Good morning, Keith B here, and I'm not in the lab for once. I'm over here on the character select screen, and I'm here because I wanted to take a moment to answer what is probably the most common question I've ever been asked, which is, what's the best character to start with as a new player in Tekken? I actually made a video about this for Tekken 7, but some of those characters aren't even in the game anymore, and quite frankly, I didn't have the best audio setup, and I even just made the whole video in one take, thinking that my friends would be the only ones to watch it. Well, turns out that video ended up being the most popular video on my channel, so I'm going to try to do right by that video and do a better job this time and answer the question for Tekken 8, because this is a different game from Tekken 7, and I think that a little bit of a different philosophy can apply when thinking, well, who should I start with? I still think that the number one best bit of advice you can get on this is from Lord Eris himself, who a long time ago on a random stream he was doing said, basically just pick the character who you think looks cool. Do you think that Devil Jin looks cool? Fine. Just play good old Diablo Jim, and you can go about learning the game that way. If you think Lars looks cool, then fine. Just use the guy with the cell phone and the Goku hair. Play Lars. No matter what you do, you will learn how to play the game of Tekken as long as you keep trying to improve and you keep learning new skills. The thing about Tekken that is different from a game like Street Fighter, a 2D fighting game, is that the characters don't adhere to hard and fast archetypes. There isn't really a dedicated zoner who only is going to zone and throw fireballs and play keep out. You have characters who are good at playing mid-range, like Claudio. Claudio plays mid-range really well, but he still has normal close-range buttons like jab and his back three, and he has lows, because in Tekken everyone is a Tekken character. Kind of imagine this, if you're a Street Fighter player, if you're a 2D player coming over to Tekken for the first time, everyone in the game is a Shoto in Tekken terms, and you just have to decide what flavor of kind of generic Tekken character you like the most. Now you might say, well, that doesn't sound very interesting, but I actually think it's more interesting, because what that does is it allows the characters to have more moves, and it allows you to play the characters very expressively. Law, for most of Tekken 7's lifespan at the higher competitive level, was a very defensive character, very focused on counter hits and whiff punishment. But you could see a player like Just Frame James, who is an OG Law player, and he would play super aggressive and rush down and do all these flips and crazy stuff. So I think it opens up a level of expressiveness, just like the Ryu and Ken and Shotos do in Street Fighter and in 2D games. So that's a really good answer, but it's kind of a cop-out to the question, because I just told you to pick who you liked. So I am going to give you 3 characters that I think are good starting points and can set you up for success in a number of ways, whether you want easy wins or you're looking to cultivate a skill set to be a higher level player. I can get you covered that way. I do want to just take a quick moment to say there's a few characters who I don't necessarily recommend, and I think it's really going to depend on you, but Mishimas are super popular in the beginner ranks. I have seen a ton of people who have joined my lobbies, or just I played in casual matches, and they're new players and they're playing Mishimas and they don't know what they're doing. And you're giving yourself a higher mountain to climb, because the Mishima archetype revolves around some high execution stuff. Now, if you're the type of person who says, well, hey, wait, you don't know what you're talking about, YouTube guy. Electric Wind Godfist is easy. Wave Dash is easy. I can do this stuff in my sleep. Then play Mishimas. Go for it. By all means. Don't let me stop you. But for 90% of people, Electric Wind Godfist is difficult to do when you first start out playing Tekken. It requires practice. And if you're busy practicing execution to do your basic moves, it's difficult, in my opinion, to also learn the basics of the game at the same time. If you do have great execution and you want to know which Mishima would be the best, I can do electric no problem. I would probably say start with Jin. He's the most straightforward and easy to use of the four. Another character who is really popular with beginners, who I don't always think is the best place to start, is Brian. Brian Fury, really cool character. Really cool, like, reptile skin cargo pants. The thing about Brian is he also is a very high execution character. It doesn't happen quite as soon with Brian. You can like get going and be like, yeah, I'm pretty decent with this character. And then you run into a wall when you want to implement his wall pressure, literally, because his taunt cancel at the wall is very core to how that character plays at the wall. And you really can't advance with the character past a certain point until you've mastered it. So if you don't mind that, if you say, okay, I can do that later, then Brian's fine. But if you're the type of person who like is thinking, oh, I don't want to I want to be able to do everything on this character right off the jump, and I don't want to have to grind then don't pick Brian. He's not for you in that case. Or pick Brian later after you've learned the game, and then you won't have as much of a steep hill to climb. I also don't recommend Yoshimitsu for beginners. This dude is weird. He breaks a lot of the rules of the game. He has like 9 stances or something crazy, and he is all over the place. He is very much a kind of like, I like when people describe Yoshi as like, this is the character you play after you beat the game, and you should unlock Yoshi as like the final boss, and then you can understand Yoshi. Most Yoshi players already know if they're playing Yoshi or not, so if you're a Yoshi player, then as you were, if you have no idea who any of these characters are, chances are you're not a Yoshi player. The other kind of approach to picking characters is that Tekken does have kind of like standard anime trope, video game trope archetypes. So if you are a ninja person, well, then you can basically know you're going to play either Yoshi or Raven, who's over here. And based on what I just said, you should probably pick Raven unless you know you want to play the weirdest character in the game already. Then you can just pick Yoshi. If you want to play the trolley, goofy character, then just pick one of the bears. Probably Kuma because he's better. But, you know, if you love having a handbag on your big trolley bear, then go for that. And these characters are here for you, and they can accommodate your desire to be a big trolley wacky character. If you just want to play the big bodies, well, hey, just pick Jack. He's the biggest dude in the game. Now, unfortunately, not every character fits into a clean archetype that might appeal to someone out there. Like, for me personally, I didn't have anyone who I was like, yeah, this is the character I'm in love with, I'm going to play them. So, for you folks, the ones who just still don't know who to pick after all this time, I'm going to give you 3 characters who I actually recommend for beginners starting out in Tekken 8. And the first one might come as a surprise. I'm going to recommend Victor, and I'll show you why. I'm actually going to go into a game here, or a training mode here, and demonstrate a couple of things. Okay, so Victor has basically a very simple kit. He has okay movement, he has some nice little pokes with his 2-2 and his 1-1, he has nice punishment, he has great whiff punishers with like down forward 2, 4-4 2, and he plays just like a very straightforward game of Tekken in spite of his stances, which are, you know, a little cool looking, but pretty simple to implement. Like, they're not anything that wild and difficult to use. And they add some visual flair to the character, but he's very straightforward. He's going to poke you. He's got some lows that, you know, he doesn't rely too hard on lows, which is typical for a standard kind of Tekken character. He can get plus frames with his wall running 2, so if you want to play plus on block, you can do that. You don't have to just play for frames on hit. That's good for beginners. Good, just throw this out. Throw out your down back 4, get some plus frames, and then he just kind of goes for counter hits. You know, he's got his various pokes and counter hit moves that he can use. So I recommend Victor for just having a very straightforward standard Tekken character with a little bit of flair, and the added bonus of he's got some nice panic options. So if you're not super solid on defense and you just want to gamble to get people off of you, you've always got like a 1+2. The next character who I would recommend for a new player is Paul Phoenix. Paul is great because he really embodies the basic, like, rudimentary aspect of applying offense in Tekken, which is, am I going to do a low? Or am I going to do a mid? And he has easy access to a variety of, 50-50 mix-ups that he can apply. All of his big mids that you mix up with are also heat engagers, so he doubly serves as just kind of a tutorial for the heat system. It's like, oh, I land my thing, and then I get to run in and do another thing, and now I'm in this mode where if I land my thing, I get a combo. I now just learned the heat system by just playing Paul. And so I think that's great. Paul, much like Victor, also has a very basic game plan. Just a little bit of pokes, hard-hitting moves, good defensive options that can get people off of you if you don't have the sharpest defense and punishment. And he's got pretty good counter hit tools as well, like with his down forward 2 being safe, and he's got his forward 1+2, and just all around a solid character. Down forward 4, also good button. So Paul, very good. Also has complete throw game, meaning he has 1, 2, and 1+2 breaks. So if you're interested in experimenting with throws and grappling, then Paul might also be a great place to start as a new player. Alright, I know some people don't want to ever play a male character in fighting games, and for all the waifu enthusiasts out there, I do have a recommendation for you as well. This one might be a little controversial. I'm recommending Lily in Tekken 8, and I'm recommending Lily because of 2 reasons. One, her movement is very strong, particularly her sidestep. She's got the best sidestep in the game. So if you want to experiment with some lateral movement, then she is great at kind of stepping into that with. And like a lot of people are timid to sidestep at the beginning, but if you have the confidence, hey, I've got the best sidestep, you might be more willing to experiment with it. And she's also good, like, that's one element of like female characters that's like really strong, is generally movement. She also has like some nice evasive kind of panicky options. Her Matterhorn down 3+4, which is nice if you want to just like, do little setups or just throw it out to get people off of you. She's got a hop kick as well that she can use to disrespect offense. So she has that element of being kind of dangerous to swing into, which is another aspect of female characters in Tekken. For those of you who maybe don't have the best defense yet, now, she's always been this way, but what she used to lack was like a really good offense. And in Tekken 8, they gave her a really good offense. She's got really strong lows that she can go to from her back turn. So you can learn to incorporate back turn as like an attack stance and apply these mix-ups out of here, which are very strong and only get stronger when she's in heat. And other than that, she's just very well-rounded. If you want plus frames, she's got that. Her down forward 3 is just sort of a Swiss Army knife, counter hit launch, plus on block, mid, just does it all. And she's got really nice heat engager, like 3-1. Just all around, really strong character. Good keep out with forward 4. And a really nice button as well. I don't always advocate, abusing the noob killer stuff, but she does have down forward 3+4, which is a noob killer button. For those who don't know how to sidestep and punish this thing on block, this becomes a nightmare move because it's a launcher. It's like a range 3 launcher. And if they don't sidewalk you, you can just kind of throw this out and go about having a very fun time doing your combos. So, a little bit of a noob killer potential with Lily, as well as just being really well-rounded. And her toolkit will hold up as you get better, and you can grow with the character. If you like my picks, if you hate my picks, or if you're indifferent to my picks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you think that I missed a character, or that you know a character that's better than the ones I recommended, feel free to leave a comment and let me know. Hope to see you next time.